Hank Kudzik, Chief Petty Officer. I did all my time on two submarines. The first one was the Nautilus. I made 8 war patrols on the Nautilus, and I made 6 on a submarine called the GAR, G-A-R. 14 war patrols in all. Well, when I was 16 years old when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And right then and there, I thought I wanted to go in the Navy. Of course, 2 days after Christmas in 1941, the month, right after Pearl Harbor was bombed, I went to the recruiting office. Signed me up. I was a little short. I was only 16, but I talked to a generous recruiting officer, and I told him my birthday's coming up, but I wonder if I could accelerate this. And he agreed and did all the preliminary. He said, all you have to do is do this, son, and you're going to be in the Navy. I volunteered because I was doing some work like removing bodies from the Oklahoma when I got over into Pearl, which was not a pleasant task. And the Ogallala, a mile there too, and they put you on work details every day, and I spotted the submarine base, and I didn't know the difference between a submarine and a waste can. But I wanted combat. I wasn't be ship's company or anything like that. I wanted to see what I could do. Now maybe that sounds crazy, but and they put me on a waiting list for a submarine. I went through all the tests and all that and passed them all, and the Nautilus came in. She came in and she was a little bit refitted with some more torpedo tubes, and now she had 10 torpedo tubes, 6, 4, and 4. Before she had 4 and 2, and she was not too seaworthy. She only had about a ½ inch thick hull and was riveted together, which is not a good thing, Rivets leak, and we got our share of leaks. But anyway, the old lady, she was already 12 years old when the war started, but they put a conglomeration of these tin cans together and called them submarines. And go ahead, this is what you're going to fight the imperial forces of Japan. And so when she came in, her first assignment was Midway, go to Midway. So we proceeded to Midway, really not knowing that this is going to be just a patrol, not a conflict. Right. But when we got on site, and I'm still in a learning curve. Right. You have to earn these. These are qualification dolphins. They don't give them to you. You have to earn them. And we, as soon as we, just only a couple of days on patrol up at Midway, Northwest Midway, we are patrolling. We ran into a flotilla of vessels. We didn't even have to plan an attack, coming right over us. Skipper said, make 4 torpedoes ready. Tubes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So he more or less waited till the one ship came in, boom, he's going to get him and wait for the other one. Well, amazing thing happened. He chose a large ship, which one was a cruiser and the other one was a large cargo vessel. And now this was the first encounter of a submarine during the war. And our first patrol, this was first of everything. We didn't know how this was going to play out. Well, the 4 torpedoes were fired. They all hit. The 2, 1 and 2 hit that one ship, and 3 and 4 hit the other ship. The sad thing was, they did not explode. They all hit their target, did not explode. Terrible feeling. We paid for it. A couple of destroyers worked us over, and that was something new. We never heard depth charges before, but now we did. Now they had a mission they were on, so they got out of the way. And there we were, and we managed to survive that depth charge attack, and there was about 32, we counted depth charges. And we were saddened by this. But about a day and a half later, along comes a vessel. We didn't know what it was, but we saw smoke first. And it happened to be the fourth carrier that the Japanese lost at Midway. 3 were already sunk, and this was one called a Soryu. And she came in, and she was damaged. But they were repairing. We could see that they were getting the deck in a position where some of their aircraft could land. They had no place to land anymore. There were no, 3 of them were gone. And so we got as close, the skipper got as close to the vessel. She was not going very fast, but there she was a target. Mm-hmm. And she had 2 escorts with her. Could it happen again? I mean, fire torpedoes and not. This is something that happened in the early days. We had problems with it, but it was resolved later on. But right now, we wanted a torpedo to explode. So we got as close. Now, a firing range is around 1,500 yards, no more than that. You like to stay there or less. Well, he went way less. He went down somewhere between 700 and 800 feet. He got as close as he could to this carrier. This carrier was not moving very fast. He said, make ready, tubes 1, 2, and 3. And he fired them. 1, 2. Now, in those days, we didn't have very much fire control. They had a first computer, I think, it was manual computer called a TDC on a submarine. You crank in a problem, and it'll give you an answer back as to what, after you plot in his course and his speed and this and yours and so forth. That was the early days of the computer. Anyway, he fired 3 at the Soryu. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit. 1 exploded, number 2 exploded, number 3 was a dud. It hit, but the 2 was enough to roll her over. And we were overjoyed. Now we had something to be happy. And that 10 torpedo, that last torpedo that hit the Torpex, the nose, 900 pounds of Torpex, broke off. A Japanese survivor managed to survive the sinking of his carrier. He grasped onto the torpedo, it was floating. And he confirmed that it was a submarine that sank his carrier. And we found this out after the war when they were comparing records. We were overjoyed and tickled pink. Now they said the people back home needed some news about the war, and we didn't do too well at Pearl Harbor, and didn't do good in the Philippines and up at Dutch Harbor. These were things weren't going our way. Midway turned things around. Hopefully we did something to help that condition out. We went into Midway to help out if we could. We'd give them some of our stores that we had. And we thought our patrol run was over. Not so fast, Nautilus. No, you're not going back into Pearl. You have torpedoes left. We're sending you to Honshu. Now Honshu is in Japan, in the Bay of Japan. Well, it was kind of a good thing. We had these torpedoes. We carried 28. 10 in the tubes, 18 are spaced out between the forward room and the after room. We managed to get 4 ships in Honshu, in the bay. Oh, we paid dearly for them. But I think there was so much confusion going on at that time that we were lucky to get out of there. And we didn't press our luck, and they said, Nautilus, you better get back in. You did your job. So, our friend, I call him my friend and my hero, was waiting for us in Pearl Harbor, Chester Nimitz. He wanted to congratulate us for the job that we did.
Excellent.
And now, when a submarine makes a war patrol, you're rewarded with 2 weeks R&R. Happen to be on, if you're in Pearl Harbor, that's Waikiki Beach at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. Fill the bathtub up with beer, have a good time, sleep as long as you want, listen to nice music, and that's the reward we got. And when we come back, and now I said, because we were beat up by these depth charts pretty big, and I said, maybe I don't want to be a submariner. This is rough stuff. Okay. Did I say that 14 times? When that bow line was thrown off, I threw the bow line off, and away I went. I was hooked on submarines.